Hi, and welcome back to the How to Decorate podcast from Ballard Designs. I'm Caroline, and normally I'm joined by my co-hosts, Taryn and Liz. But today it's just me because we are kicking off a very special 3-part holiday series. So for the next 3 weeks, each of us, myself, Taryn, and Liz, will be replaying one of our favorite holiday-themed episodes from the entire podcast catalog. You'll get to hear why these particular episodes resonated with us, why we think they're worth a revisit, and Taryn and Liz are also going to share their picks. So to start us off, I chose what was originally episode 117 with incredibly talented Richmond interior designer Janie Molster. She has such a pretty, layered, and happy portfolio and style. But I love the twist that she puts on her rooms for the holidays because they are so traditional and timeless, but they're also really surprising. And I think that is really what excites me about the holidays. I want them to feel familiar, but I also don't want them to be the same every year. I like to mix it up. And so seeing Janie's portfolio really inspired me. And one of her insights totally blew my mind. And I incorporate this now into my own holiday decor. And it's really about your holiday color palette and how your color palette should enhance your room and not fight with it. There are tons of other tips in there too. So, using natural greenery and ribbon and choosing colors for your room that's going to last. But this was a real pivotal moment for my own holiday decorating philosophy. And I just loved everything Janie had to say about decorating your room for the holidays. So I promise you're going to walk away with some fresh ideas, whether you're listening for the first time or revisiting this gem. So let's dive into the conversation with Richmond interior designer Janie Molster. I do want to talk, since we are in the holiday season, I wanted to talk a little bit about Christmas decorating, because there were 2 houses that I saw that you did that were all decked out for the holidays. And something I particularly loved about it is neither were red and green.
Right.
None, there was a lot of pinks and blues and chartreuse, which
Right.
I guess is green, but is
Yeah,
not
but
your
it's a
traditional
fun,
Christmas
fresh green. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So talk about and how do you decorate a pink house for the holidays?
Oh, gosh, it's so easy.
Oh.
Pink looks so good with green. So, no, decorating for the holidays for me is so simple. And I do go into homes at Christmas where I can tell, they have, incredible collections of Christmas accessories, and the Christmas pillows come out on the sofa and all of that. And I love it. It's hard for me. For me, and for my clients, I tend to dial that back a bit. And I do have a few things that are over the top, and then the rest of it is sort of quiet. And I think, honestly, now that I'm actually saying that and listening to myself, that's probably how I try to treat design in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everything cannot be, the star of the show. Give a few places for your eye and your mind to go, and then let that thing sort of stand alone. And in my house and in my client's house, often it's the tree. We go kind of crazy on the tree. My personal home, I don't have a tree that has children's handmade ornaments and then the designer tree. It's all jumbled in one big hodgepodge of a tree that I can't ever find a tree with enough limbs. So my limbs are dripping,
Right.
and sort of that's my thing that I do. But so to your point about color, I don't think red and green are a necessity. I think what is key is greens. So I'm so about the greens in a house. And if you live somewhere where you can, walk into your backyard and clip magnolia or poet's laurel or holly or whatever, fabulous. Go for that. If you don't, or, we actually have clients that are allergic to that. And oh my gosh, they're just the best looking faux greens now.
Right.
So you can get that look. And we tend to really focus on bringing the greenery, not just adorn on your wreath on your door, but bringing the greens inside. So we often buy exterior wreaths and hang them, on mirrors or, on a big bay window. And we will layer the greens, rather than, if you buy the beautiful fir or boxwood wreath, we'll layer it with another type, of green, just like we layer interiors with finishes. We'll
Right.
layer greens. I'm a big believer in ribbon. and go to your craft or hobby store or whatever and just buy the beautiful bolts of beautiful wide wired satin ribbon in your color choice, but pick your color palette. So if you're going to have a lot of greens and you sort of look at your house, what if your house is salmon and, a yummy sort of light blue? What if that is your color palette? Then you'd go to the store and you'd pick salmon or you'd pick a beautiful light blue, and that would be your ribbon, and you would take that, and that mixed with natural greens has a complete Christmas look.
Yeah.
So I do it to enhance the design of a house, not to enhance, the Hallmark color palette.
Right.
So anyway, that's how we start. And then, we take it on down to tabletop. When we're setting our tables for the holidays, if you've used that, if pink is your ribbon color, accent color of choice, then the tabletop fruits, which I do tend to use natural things like fruits and vegetables and greens on the table too. We'll probably use pomegranates or something. So we'll pick fruits in the same palette. So it's really just picking a palette that makes your house look good and then just taking it to holiday type accessories.
That makes sense. I like that.
Totally makes sense.
Easy. Do you change your color palette
Yeah.
year to year?
No, not really. I do have, big boxes of ribbon. And, I went through a thing where instead of, having a pink ribbon on my door, I kind of went for white and green and sort of just, eliminated that accent color. And that was great. I kept that. I'll do that again. And one year I did white and ivory, but my go-to, and then I've done the range of pinks. I've done a pretty sort of petal, pastel pink, and then I've done fuchsia. And, so yes, I guess I do. I would
but
say
you don't
no.
switch it every year. You just use it until you're kind of tired of it.
Yeah, and I save it, and sometimes I'll rotate back. And I do keep all those things. And I find, and then one year I did, because I was just looking at that box visually and remember that I had did gold and kind of an acid green. And the trick is, if you have that color festooning down your stair rail and the ribbon running through your tree, then that color also needs to connect to the wreath hanging on the door. Just keep it consistent. And it doesn't, because Christmas can clutter a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can. And you're going to have a ton of people. You're going to have family rolling in. You need to be entertaining. So, you need to work Christmas in so it doesn't, your house still shines.
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Yes.
One, okay, since you do have hodgepodge tree, which I have hodgepodge tree, you use the ribbon to unify that with the rest of your decor.
Yes.
Smart.
It helps. And so we, go crazy with lights because that's a curse of every designer. They can't get enough lights on a tree.
Right, no.
And then my next layer, I even, well, I wouldn't tell my client to do that, but I have a little, construction paper, garland that my daughter made for me as a child that I've saved. Now, I will tell you, when I helped her and gave her the construction paper, I picked the palette of the construction paper. So we even mixed that with beautiful satin wired ribbon, and I think when you're doing a tree, if you have multiple garlands, to rotate some in a circular pattern around the tree, and then the next layer needs to layer from the top vertically down, and you can actually layer that. We love doing that. But yes.
Okay.
The answer to that, I do.
No, I was just thinking I need to go in and truly study and screenshot your trees, because I have tried to put ribbon on my tree and I find it to be so hard to make it look like what we were talking about, where make it look effortlessly flowing.
It's not easy.
Not as easy as it looks.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Yeah,
I like that tip you just gave, but maybe if you
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you do the vertical, ribbon, start at the top and be very rigid, get it, completely symmetrical. Make sure, if you're starting at the top of the pyramid, you're spacing it all correctly.
And it goes straight down.
And then mess it up. And then push it in different places and kind of just like I talked about messing up the symmetry. Mess it up a little bit so it looks a little more organic. And do all this before you layer your ornaments, because your ornaments are obviously last. And when you put your ornaments on, that's going to mess up a little stuff anyway. You'll mess up your garland that way.
And cover up bits of it too, which is nice.
Yeah.
Does it drape at the bottom? Or
Well,
do you
I always do
chop
it extra long because I know I'm going to push it in. And then I'll cut at the very end. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you buy your ribbon at the craft store?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And then there's some sources online, if you're looking for sort of a funky color. But yeah, I do. And sometimes, I love to go in January when all the ribbon is practically free.
Yeah.
And I'll buy just tons of ribbon. And if I find I haven't used it in my decor, I'll use it the next year for wrapping presents or something. But
that was my second question. Does your gift wrap coordinate with your decor?
Okay. True confessions? No. In photo shoot styling, of course.
Right.
Yeah. So if you look at my trees online, of course they do. And there's some years where I'm more organized than others and, and I do a better job. But the reality is, if you pick what you like, typically you're going to find out, that you are drawn to the same type of wrapping. So sometimes it appears as if it's coordinated, but that's just consistency in the wrapping that I like.
Right.
My favorite sort of go-to thing is craft paper and then, pretty special ribbon. So, that's always if I, run out, dash to the store for 10 rolls of craft paper. But
here's a good tip.
What?
If you use the butcher block paper from like Home Depot, I think, especially if you have kids toys are always huge and unusually shaped. And butcher block paper, even from Home Depot, is like several inches longer.
Wider.
Wider than regular gift wrap. So if you have a giant box, it's great.
It does help.
Strategy. And it's like 8 million yards long.
I do like the butcher block paper. Yeah. It does look great under the tree with fun ribbons.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking at this tree that you did with the acid green, and you're right. Like some ribbons are sort of spun on the way down into like a little, almost like a candy cane swirl, and then some are straight down. So, okay, I'm gonna try the strategy this year.
I am
Send
too.
pics. I want to see your tree.
And the ribbon does tie in with the room, which really it makes it look designery, even if it was shoved full of my kids' kindergarten ornaments.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Which it will be.
And we even have our own ornaments as kids.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, my mom was like, "And these are yours now.
Take it."
I don't want this on my tree.
Okay. So I am such a, they are my favorite thing. I always complain. I've spent hours on this tree or days and nobody's helped me. And my family, fires back and they say, "You won't let us help you," because they'll go to the box of my children. I'm like, "Don't touch that." It's my favorite thing in the world. But I haven't given them away because it really is my, favorite thing at Christmas, standing on that ladder at 1:00 in the morning, drinking eggnog and unpacking all those little children ornaments. So kudos to your mom for parting with them. I'm a hoarder. I can't do it.
How old is your oldest?
At 33.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, he has a beautiful Christmas tree and he would love to have them. And his wife would love to have them, I'm sure, but no.
Well, I do my version of what you're doing, which is I sit with a glass of wine while my children do it. So I see each one as they pull it out and we talk about it and look at it.
Yeah.
But they do the work.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you are a freer person than me. I'm proud.
Well, your tree's prettier.
Well, you can always be like, "You're tall. You can get up there."
That's right. Well, they kind of fight over certain ones, which is kind of funny.
That's sweet. Yeah. No, I look in magazines and on television at families that, are sort of all in on it. And it's really sort of my thing. Now, my husband, he does do the heavy lifting on the front end with lights and what have you. Yeah, so God love him.
I wish my husband did the lights.
The lights are the worst.
Because I'm obsessed about them, right? Just like you. They have to be amazing. That's what makes your tree glow.
Yeah. And a trick on that, I always tell people, they say, "When is enough?" And I'm like, get several feet back from your tree and squint. And, just see if the blur,
dark spots,
if there are any places that you can see. And I learned, and then I started walking out, my front door out on the street and squinting. And at that point, we knew I was really losing it.
She's
Stop.
crazy.
I know, but
and then turn the lights off and look at it to see where you're missing ornaments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will try that.
Okay.
Yeah. My college roommate taught me that. Laura.
Yeah. We bought I think I talked about this in an old episode, but we rebought our lights this year and they're like more blue and I really
LED.
hate it.
Gosh, yeah.
But
do they have lumens listed on Christmas tree lights? I wonder if they do.
Probably. And I made the mistake of sending Will to the store to get the lights.
Oh.
I won't make that again, but I probably won't buy Christmas lights for another 10 years. So
you can't live with blue lights. Think of the investment. It's like $50, maybe.
Lights are expensive.
They're like $7
you
a
bought
string.
yours like 15 years ago.
They're more than $7 a string.
Yeah, they're kind of expensive, I think. Okay.
Go to the store in January and get your beautiful warm colored lights for next year. They're free.
I did last year. Some listener listened to me griping about my lights and told me to get a dimmer. And I did do that, and it helped a lot.
Wow.
You can it's just a little like $10 dimmer on Amazon, and you just plug the lights into the dimmer before they plug into the extension cord, and you can change it. So
I love that.
Very helpful.
I need to get the remote control for my lights for the Christmas tree, you know? On
Do
and
you all
off.
sell that at Ballard?
No, Amazon.
Well, you should.
Shouldn't we?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That we should make all of our Christmas trees come with a
remote. Brilliant, Caroline. We'll have to leave this and go tell merchandising.
All right, I think we should answer some questions.
Oh, a decorating dilemma. Will you help us?
Yes.
This is a good one.
Oh, this is from Jade, who is adorable. First of all, Jade, I totally cyberstalked you and got on Zillow and looked at your new house.
It was so cute.
She's like 25 and just bought this adorable house, and she's getting ready to decorate it, and she needed some help. So she says, hello, Ballard has been my guilty pleasure since I was a girl, stealing and folding down the corners of my mother's catalogs. I long for the day when I could decorate my own home. Well, that day has arrived. This first house of mine has presented a few design challenges, but none so challenging as the bedroom upstairs. Why? Dormer windows, and not the cute kind with the window seat where one might read a book all day. No, the wall-obstructing awkward kind that make having a headboard nearly impossible. Since I've come to terms with tossing my cast iron headboard, I need help with what to do next. Do I go bold and wallpaper all those awkward angles, embracing the choppy space, or go neutral to smooth out and distract away from the lines? And window treatments? Where do you even begin? I've scoured the internet for inspiration photos to no avail. Any insight from my favorite Ballard gals would be of great assistance. I should note, the pictures below only show one side of the master, but the opposite wall poses the exact same issue. The bed pictured is a king. And so I think these are photos from the online listing. This isn't even her furniture. So she does have this little attic bedroom with dormers, and between all the dormers are windows. What should she do?
Okay. Well,
surprise, Janie.
Yeah.
Get to work.
So if budget allows, I love her idea of wallpaper. I mean, this is a very attic, Evie kind of feeling space. And we always, if a client is open to wallpaper, recommend that. As a matter of fact, I would not only wallpaper the angles and the eaves, but do the ceiling, do all of it. Because if she doesn't do the entire room, what's going to happen is she's going to end up with the way the eaves, angle in, she's going to end up with this weird little small space that if that is separate, it will shrink visually the room. So she needs to pick a wallpaper and a good installer that can take that pattern and wrap front to back is how she'd start.
Is there a pattern that's better than another, an Oliver floral or a geometric or a stripe in a room like this?
Well, a stripe could be, or a vertical pattern could be really fun because depending on what it is, she could run it, up the eaves vertically and then take the pattern sideways on the top to create sort of a cabana tent effect. So, there's all kinds of fun ways to play with wallpaper, but I do think this room would be transformed with wallpaper. And then she's got these funky little, trimmed doors to fit the attic eaves. And I think they are so fun and sort of filled with personality. And I can't see if they have paneling or not, but they almost look like flat panel doors, in which case, depending on her color palette, it would be so fun to accent them. I mean, she could wrap them in a fabric and put a really fun stud pattern on them to make them sort of be a great architectural piece. The other thing, what they need to do is they need to be treated in something that connects to the wallpaper pattern so that you don't end up with, in this case, two big white spots on that side of the room.
Right.
Even if she does nothing other than taking the ground color of the wallpaper and treating the trim and doors the same.
Got it.
So that is just more of a blend. And then, I do think she's a little bit stuck. She's going to end up with a low headboard. She's probably going to need to do an upholstered one there. And then I think the best thing for the windows behind her bed are a remote control blind, because getting in there to raise and lower them, I think will really, eventually be problematic for her. And on the odd window, she can do whatever she wants. She can do floor to ceiling curtains. She can treat that separately because it really is in another place. And
doesn't have to match.
It doesn't have to match. And it's different as well. These are double hung versus a single hung. But it's a cute room. I mean, it has so much potential. And I think, the wallpaper would just be a game changer.
Right.
Yes.
It feels so light and bright.
Okay, I have a crazy idea.
What is it?
For a headboard.
Okay.
So for people who can't see, the king bed is centered sort of in this dormer. And so two really angled pieces of the dormer are cutting into the bed. So part of the bed has, maybe 6 feet above it, but part of the bed only maybe has like 6 inches above it before it hits the angle part.
Right.
So my weird thought was, what if she has a custom headboard made to where it starts like right below the top of the dormer, comes up like in a swoop above, so it sort of
so it makes a little arch.
Yeah, so she kind of gets the feel of like a arched headboard, but it's tall where the window is. Maybe it covers a little bit.
That's a fun idea.
And then swoops down.
I was very skeptical when you started that idea. I was like, this is going to be ugly. And now I can envision it.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the wallpaper is going to look freaking killer. So I definitely like that idea. And if she could only do one or the other, then I would say do the wallpaper. But
you can do it in phases.
Yeah, and you may even actually find a king headboard. I know
she doesn't. She might not have a king. This is from she might have a queen. She's a young single girl.
Same rule would apply regardless of your bed size. And you may be able to find a headboard that kind of fits, depending on, if you really get out your measuring tape. But having a headboard made is really not that expensive.
No, it's not.
So, yeah, I mean.
And if you're handy jade, you might be able to do it yourself.
Yes.
I mean, if you've got a jigsaw and some padding and some fabric.
Yes.
To be handy, though.
So,
Jade, this is so exciting, though. She's like 26 and has her first house.
I don't think there's anything more charming than a bedroom with dormer windows where it's all treated well.
Where did I make up her age? I don't think she's told us. I've made up a whole personality for Jade. I was judging my own children and why aren't they having their homes? All right. One more?
Yes. Are y'all game for one more?
Are you game for one more? Okay. This one's from Lauren. She just recently discovered the podcast and it is everything. She put in all caps, "Thank you, Lauren. We love you. My family and I moved into our new house. It's a 70s build about 6 weeks ago, and she's itching to make it hers. The room I'm currently struggling with is the family room. It opens on one side to the entry and on the other side to the dining room. The furniture in there now is stuff I had on hand already from our previous house, but none of it feels right. We have a small list of to-dos like retiling the fireplace, adding built-ins around it, and possibly closing off the space above it. Would love your thoughts on furniture placement and or new pieces, drapery, etc. I'm itching to get started, but feeling stuck. Help." So it is a room, like just say it's a rectangle. There's a sort of a double opening on one of the walls, the long wall, which looks like it goes to the entry. I can't tell. Oh, dining room. I think that's the dining room. And then there must be another door we can't see. Oh, yeah, there's a small door to the entry and then a long bank of windows on the long wall that opposes the one that has the entry to the dining room. So furniture placement she's struggling with, looks like.
Right. Well, one thing I can't see if there's room, but if there is room on the other end of the sofa, I think if she put another chair there, we always talk about there's a little bit of too much space between the two sofas, and we always try to create rooms where there isn't, as we call it, the timeout chair, like the person that's sitting so far away from everyone else that they can't really be in the conversation. So even if it's just a small, low profile sort of fireside chair or a bench, but creating a space there for, you always want to have at least 2 to 3 people that can interact in a more intimate way. So having a little seat there. One thing I would suggest, her television is in a deep recessed niche above a fireplace. And I think with very little effort, she could remedy that. I mean, I think it was probably there from the old days where we had big, fat, bulky televisions and we needed, a nice big, cavity to mount them. And now we have, these beautiful 1-inch deep flat screens. So, and it looks like that's probably what she has. I would fill that in and mount her television, hardwire it on the wall. It's just a cleaner, simpler look. And we won't have all those big shadows of that shadow box in the back. So that's a little bit of a construction project, but not much to it. And then that would sort of clean that wall up, so to speak. And then with her sofa that's sort of flying solo there by itself.
Under the windows.
Yes, under the windows. If we add a seat next to it, and then she's got a very generous cocktail table in front of one sofa. But if we just
and
added
nothing in front of the other one.
She just added one little, almost like it could be a garden stool or some little table, just someplace for that person to put their drink or their magazine or their newspaper. That always tends to draw people in if there's a surface.
So you're kind of making 2 seating arrangements.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So one with the sofa that's oriented to the television and the other one on the other wall, which is a love seat under the windows. That's okay. I love it.
So in a perfect world, with those 2, like, should she try to find something? Should she get 2 chairs that coordinate for either side of the fireplace and maybe move this current chair to another room? Or are you saying
could she just move this one over by the blue love seat and then add another one with the other one?
Should it be a pair or should they be different?
I think if a pair is in the scope, a pair would be great. And I love that idea. And the other thing that just, I've certainly lived in houses and definitely worked on houses where there's all of these, multiple entryways into them, and they do create some space planning struggles just because you have to leave, a passageway.
Right.
That, one thing I really don't like is weaving in and out of furniture, in a space plan. So she's doing a good job of that here. But I do notice that the way the furniture has laid out, it's needed. The furniture is asymmetrical in the space. So back to the layering rugs, she's got sort of a Beni Urain style, Moroccan-looking rug in the room, but it really is not filling the room. If she layered a real room-size rug underneath that, it would unify all those big gaps of flooring and make her asymmetry just sort of feel a little less noticeable. So, and when I say room size, I'm really meaning pull off maybe 8 inches off the wall and really fill the room up with a seagrass or a sisal or some, quiet rug.
And inexpensive too.
Yeah, and then her existing rug could be layered on top.
Do you think she should do the built-ins on either side of the fireplace? She mentioned that they were going to do that.
I think, if she has things to put in the built-ins. So built-ins are always a great idea. And if you have collections or you have a beautiful library that needs a home, that's great. But just creating bookshelves and then you come up with the issue of, okay, now what do I put in them?
You have to decorate them.
And so, and the best thing for books shelves is books.
Yeah.
So, a series of picture frames and disparate sort of knickknacks are not a good look. It's a cluttered look. So bookshelves require very careful styling. And if you don't have a home, if you don't need a home for things, if you're just doing it to fill the room out, just go buy artwork.
Right.
And or like a pair of great
consoles
kind of chest,
or
consoles and a pair of mirrors or a pair of paintings.
Yeah, I think that would be fabulous.
You're totally right about the space above that TV though. And I was thinking, I really want to hurt whoever built this. That cavity. But you're right. That's why it was there. But in my mind, I'm like, what? Who? What? Why?
Right. I know.
Why is there this empty space?
That's an easy thing to fix.
Yes. Yes. And then drapery. I feel like she should put some drapery in there, right?
I mean, draperies are always a softener. And so she definitely is going to have a piece of furniture backing up to the curtains. But, if we're hanging the curtains way outside of that big bank of windows so that they fall and they're not really blocking light.
Right.
And they're adding, architectural softness and whatever her color palette is. Definitely with her ceiling height, they should be hung just under the base of the crown. They should break the floor, and she should use enough fabric so that they can actually shut.
Right.
That's always
even if you don't shut them.
Even if you don't use enough fabric so that they can shut, curtains just look skimpy. So even if she has to buy multiple panels of whatever.
Right. I have one last question.
Yes.
So if she's going to add 2 chairs or at least 1 chair and some drapery, should she be using that as an opportunity to unify kind of the palette or the color in the room? Should she, if there's a pattern on that panel, should she have some pillows made maybe to go on these sofas or put it on the chair? Or what else could bring this all together for her?
Yeah, I do. I think she needs to explore, what she's missing in there, and I do think creating your Pinterest boards or your house boards and going through them and studying them to see. You may think they're all over the map and there's no connectedness there, but inevitably, I think even if she gets a friend or her husband or somebody to look at them, there's going to be something that is consistent.
Yeah.
And that might be where the next step she goes to adding color or pattern.
Mm-hmm.
But what I wouldn't put is a very busy, crazy pattern on window treatments, because that's the thing we often change the least. And pattern really is the thing we tire of first. So put that in pillows on her sofa and stick to something straightforward or very clean geometric or something for her curtains is, I think, going to wear well.
Right. Yeah. Wonderful. I love new houses and new moves and stuff.
Yeah.
So much fun things to do. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Janie, for helping us.
You all so much.
Fun.
I loved being here. It's so much fun. I wish I could do this all day. I love the little problem solving things, and these seem easy to do. So,
we can email you too a day.
Will you keep sending them to me? Good. They're fun.
Yeah.
They are fun.
Will you tell everyone where they can find you, follow you, see your work, all that good stuff?
Sure. Yeah. So we are based in Richmond, Virginia. My Janie Molster Designs, and our website is janiemolsterdesigns.com. It's an easy Google search. And we very active on Instagram, not so much on other forums, and that's also Janie Molster Designs. So we'd love to hear from you. There's a email on the website. If you have questions or you want feedback on some of these things, we can certainly reach out to us, and we'd love to hear from you. But we love being here. We love Ballard, and it's a treat.
Thank you, Janie. You do have a fabulous Instagram.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I love that one. Think outside red and green. You can have some fun with it. Thank you to Janie for sharing her wisdom with us. You can find her work at Janie Molster Designs or on Instagram at Janie Molster Designs. Don't forget to come back next week because Taryn will be sharing her favorite holiday episode. I think I know what she picked, and it's a good one. So don't skip that. Of course, remember to leave us a review in your podcast app. Send your decorating questions to podcast@ballarddesigns.net. It doesn't have to be a super in-depth decorating question. You can just send us what you want to talk about, a book you read that you loved and think we should read, anything. We love to hear from you. And of course, check out the show notes at howtodecorate.com/podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel because we do share the video versions of all of our podcast episodes, plus house tours and other great content. So don't forget to do that. Follow us on YouTube. And happy decorating and happy holidays. See you next week.
And that's our show. You can find all of the show notes on our blog, howtodecorate.com/podcast.
To send in a decorating dilemma, email your questions to podcast@ballarddesigns.net so we can help you with your space.
And of course, be sure to follow us on social media at Ballard Designs.
Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback.
Until next time, happy
decorating!